Welcome to my world. So you want to talk about something, or?
Yeah. What was on your mind when you decided to do this record?
To do this track. I was in Melbourne on a tour last December, and had like 10 days of downtime. So I brought my laptop with me, and it's always a good time to kind of write music, I think, because you got different inspirations. When you go to different cities, different things inspire you in those cities and stuff. So I came up with this track.
Okay. And what was your process of doing that?
I really don't have a set process. Whatever. You know, some people can go into a studio and, like, you know, they might have an MPC in front of them. They start working with some beats first, blah blah blah. I'm not really like that. I just whatever grabs me at that time, whatever I'm sitting in front of, and if I'm thumbing through some presets on keyboard or whatever, and a sound might inspire me, or a string pad or whatever. But it's not really a set thing. I'm clearly one of those kind of guys that feels music from inside me more or less than being able to go in and like turn on the drum machine and just start going. I gotta be in the right zone, in other words, to create music.
So in order for you to compose this in Australia, what did you use to compose?
My laptop, which comprised of, I had some software in it, Logic 7, and I took a little tiny USB keyboard. And no, I took my Elise's Micron along with me, and so I have like that and a whole bunch of software synthesizers on my computer that, you know, technology is today where you can like record anything, anywhere, you know, and you're not really limited by what you can't do. It's actually, you know, whatever you can come up with, you can basically do with a computer today. So it's really simple to be able to work anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are.
Okay. And while you were there, did you take any ambient sounds, or did you use any live recording, or was it all done?
All within the computer.
Okay, so you were using soft synths and
all soft synths. Yeah.
Okay.
So then I came here to dump it down on multi-track. Got 24 tracks here going, and I'm usually not this busy. My stuff is usually not this busy, but you know, you in a studio, you want to be able to use it to its capacity. So here you are. So we got it pulled up on the mixer here. Just mixing it down. Just, you know.
Okay, so did you do any arranging or anything of this on the multi-track, or?
No. As you can see, it's just straight up playing. There ain't no breaks. You know, I do mainly the arranging. I believe my mixing, when I mix down a song, it's more DJ style. It's not really an arranged song per se. I mean, I might have some. Okay, in a true sense, yeah, you might have. Okay, I'm gonna have 16 bars here, intro, and then I'm gonna go into the strings or whatever. But it's still more off the cuff kind of thing, more like a DJ would like kind of, you know, cut like that and stuff. So I don't have the brain cells to arrange. I don't think. A lot of people do that. A lot of people arrange and they just push play on the sequencer and they just sit back and let the song mix down itself.
Sure.
I like to do like maybe 4 or 5 different mixes and get different feels for it, and then and pick the best out of the 4 or 5, and then maybe perhaps even go and take snippets of those 4 or 5 different mixes and put them together, and you come up with a really nice sound.
And what was your process of recording these tracks to multi-track? You have all the songs there, or all the music there on these 24 tracks, but I mean, you had to come out of your computer in order to get it onto this hard disk recorder. So what was the process of doing that?
Just basically bringing the computer in, interfacing it with a converter. You have to be able to get the music out of the computer into the multi-track. So we use, I do that via the converter, and it goes from the converter, out of the computer, into the converter, out of the converter, into the multi-track. But then also I wanted to do like a lot of sweetening. I wanted to make the sounds, give the sound some fatness or whatever you might want to do. So you got the little outboard rack over here, which takes care of all that stuff. It's almost the same as a painter having all kinds of different paints and different brushes and stuff. You want to, like, you know, have access to all these different things so you can kind of mix and match them together and see what it does to the sound and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we were doing, just making sure everything sounds really nice and fat, like the bass sound really good through something like this or this or this. So the more options you have, the better.
Right. So were you recording with the processing on? Did you record any tracks going into a compressor or an EQ?
Oh, totally.
Okay, so you did that while you were recording,
Right,
not after you recorded.
Well, and then sometimes when I was mixing down, I said, okay, I don't like this kick.
Right.
So I'm gonna change the kick, the bass kick, and then so I went and got another kick, and then processed the kick, going back in, and then sometimes when I'm mixing down, I would come back out of the multi-track and still process it and come back in. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
You know.
Okay. And
it's a lovely room. It's a lovely room. It's a very, very inspiring room. I mean, I haven't worked like this in 4 years at least.
how important is the room to you? Is it?
It's of paramount importance. I mean, like I said, some people they get inspired off of different things. It could be their girlfriend. It could be what they're going through emotionally at the time in their life. It could be this. It could be that. I'm a visual guy and an emotional guy, and whatever surrounds me. First and foremost, if the studio is conducive to working, in other words, you don't have like big windows and it looks outside, you know, and you can see what's going on outside. That takes me out of the mood to work. I need to be in a place where there's you can't tell what time it is, so you can duplicate the mood in here every single time, and it can be 24 hours a day. You can duplicate the same mood by lighting and all that kind of stuff. So that's key for me, to be able to like set the mood right. Just like if you like with your girl and you want to like sex her up, you got to like make the candles all right. It's the same thing with me for music. And then obviously the plethora of different pieces of gear in here that just, you know, you get excited about. Oh, you know what, this is going to be really fun.
Sure.
More options you have, the better.
So how did you talked earlier about how you'd replace sounds if you didn't like the EQ on it, or you didn't like the kind of kick. What would make you want to do that? Was it the sound of an instrument that you wanted to change, or the impact of the instrument, or how really do you judge that?
Right. Okay, like if you have everything up, I mean, there was like, if you have all this music up, and basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a nice balance across the frequency spectrum, like a lot of nice bass, you know, some mids and some highs. But if you have like, in my situation, I had like the bass drum was conflicting with the bass line, the kick drum, so it didn't work right with that. So it was more boomy, and the bass line was kind of boomy too.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I need a more thuddy kick to like get out of the way of that boom and let the boom of the bass line come through. So that's when I was like, when I had everything together, I was like, no, this is not working together. So then I went and thumbed through the drum module over there, the kick drum module over there, and found something that kind of complemented the track more.
Right. Okay. So when you replace sounds, did you replace them mainly with outboard gear, or did you replace them with different sounds in the computer as well?
Outboard gear.
All outboard. Okay.
And like I said, it was usually more of the kick drum than anything. I mean, I was happy with the sounds, like the pads and the keyboard, the pianos and stuff like that. That didn't bother me so much as the kick and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So when you're judging, when you're listening to that, were you doing the most of your listening and judging based on large monitors or on small monitors?
Well, we had two sets of speakers in here. We didn't have the near fields here. We had the mid speakers, the one in the middle, and then the huge speakers up top. So so I was spoiled this time. I don't normally have access to these type of speakers. See.
Sure. Now, in relation, at home when you've mixed in the past, you've actually, the smaller speakers have come from your studio, and you have another set of smaller speakers, as well as a sub. Now, when you were mixing in that environment in comparison to mixing on main monitors, how would you determine the mix when you be in your own space?
Just going back and forth to the car.